Roll call, please.
Mayor Louis A. Trujillo,
Present.
Councilor David G. Romero,
Here.
Councilor Joseph P. Baca,
Here.
Councilor Michael L. Montoya,
Present.
Councilor David A. Ulibarri Jr.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do you have a quorum?
Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Montoya, would you please lead us in silent a moment, please?
That moment of silence was for all those that have gone beyond before us. Mr. Leo Armijo, for one, in our community, and others. We pray to you, Lord, that you bring us good wisdom, knowledge to our meetings. And we thank you for all the gifts that we have received.
Amen.
Mr. Mayor, you want to introduce your...
Oh, yeah. I need to introduce Lily. Hi, Lily. Come on, Lily. Come on. Come on, Lily.
This is Lily, and Lily is about 3 years old, and she was adopted out here in Las Vegas, and her guardian unfortunately passed away. And so we brought her back to us, and she's been in foster care for a number of weeks now. Is adjusting well. We put her in foster care because it would be better to put her in a foster family than in the shelter.
Right.
Because of what she's gone through.
Yeah.
But she's potty trained, she goes into her crate at night by herself to sleep, and she's very affectionate, and she would love to have you forever and ever.
Who wants her? Raise your hand. Anybody? Thank
So,
you.
anyway, she's a beautiful dog, and
Thank you.
and I think she'll make a very affectionate
Sure.
companion.
Thank you, Marshall. And Marshall works with the Animal Welfare Coalition, and they always accept donations of food, blankets, hay, what else?
Yep, and money.
Money?
One of the things that we do is we have low-cost spay-neuter programs, and the spay-neuter clinic in Santa Fe has now reopened.
Good.
So we are able to take animals for $25 spay-neuters in Santa Fe, and that includes a microchip and a rabies shot and any other vaccinations the dog might need. So call the shelter at 505-426-3289.
426-3289 is the shelter. If you want to make a donation of money or food or goodies or dog treats. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, Lily. Come on, Lily. Come on, go. Nobody wants? Take her home. Mary?
Thank you, okay.
Need another thing? Puppy at home? What's that?
I have 4.
Poor Lily. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda, and I do have an amendment to the agenda.
Okay.
The amendment is removal of the second presentation on Roman numeral 9, and that being that presentation had been recorded last month and it was an oversight. So we can
Okay.
remove that item. That's the one, Utilities Director Maria Gilbert.
Yes. What's the pleasure of the council, Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, I'd like, as advised by legal, is to move the executive session after public input, which is item 14. Very well. And I'd also like to move, I know Councilor Montoya has asked for that item 15, councilor's report after the city manager's report. And also, if possible, I don't know if this was a typo or what happened, but in our in the agenda, it says if we have councilors' reports, only 3-minute limitation, and I'd like to remove that. No, I know there's sometimes if I have questions, I think 3 minutes isn't enough, and I don't know how the rest of the council is, but I'll make that motion.
So moved,
That
Mr. Mayor.
change?
So moved. Or second, I'm sorry.
I'd like to comment on that. I'd like to keep, we limit our public input people to 3 minutes, and I think it's just fair that we limit our presentation as well. And I understand some may go over. I'll be as lenient as possible, but with the consideration of time, I would like your consideration to stay within the 3 minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I also have a concern with the 3-minute. Well, last week, or the last meeting we had, I asked that the councilor's report be under the city manager, under the mayor's report on every meeting. I don't know if I wasn't heard right, or, but the council reports should be right after the mayor's report. From now on, if there's no objection, and there was no objection last meeting. And also, I do have an issue with a 3-minute presentation for councilman reports. As a councilman, I feel like we're elected officials and we're grown men, and we ought to stick to the subject at hand. If not, call us out of order, or if we're being germane about it, call us back into what the item is of talking about. Don't let us rabble around and repeat ourselves. If we're repeating ourselves, make it a point and use the gavel and let us know. But as an elected official, we should be permitted sufficient time to give information to the public and on
What
different
is
topics.
sufficient time?
Pardon me?
What is sufficient time?
Well, I think...
5 minutes?
I don't know what the time is, but I'm just saying, Mr. Mayor, that we got elected to represent the people. And if I meet with 10 people in 10 different places during 2 weeks or a month, and I need to report that, if I only met with one person that month, and I need to report that.
So give me a suggestion. I don't want them to be unlimited time.
Well, I'm suggesting you use your gavel, if that's the case, because limiting the time, it's kind of, to me, it's inappropriate to set a time limit on somebody.
I don't. I think it's very considerate of people who are watching, and we have business to discuss. And I think that our discussion should be germane to our agenda.
Yeah, and to me, limiting the right to speak, you're limiting the right to represent the people.
I'm not limiting your right to speak. I'm giving you time.
Well, yeah, I know you're giving us time, but 3 minutes, the dog gets 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know, to me, it's inappropriate.
Mr. Mayor.
If somebody has better suggestions, that's fine, but,
I'm open.
yeah.
Mr. Mayor, now, what I think if there's something to do with say he's talking about 10 people talking to him in a month, I think if there's concerns that he can bring it to the city manager unless he wants to speak out in the public and talk to the public about it. But I think if you have any, say I got 10 people that come to me and there's concerns on my wall and there's concerns that I gotta talk to the city manager, that's what I'll do. I won't put it on a public input. I'll do it a different way.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
In support of the governing body, the councilors that have expressed their concern with a 3-minute limit, I too concur with them that I feel, as was mentioned before, you only vote on issues when there's a tie. We vote on the issues as per the charter. We're the ones that vote on the issues. We're the ones, you also have to respond to the public, but the issues, and I mentioned to the city manager one time, I cannot make an informed decision based on limited information. I think we're all adults, and I would not favor you using your gavel, because we're adults, and I think all of us can govern ourselves and say, okay, I'm not going to go for 10 minutes with this issue. So it's up to us as individuals to govern ourselves. We need to keep the harmony in the meetings and keep the topic flowing. Yeah, you said a limit. It's always been the case where there's always a 3-minute limit for the community. But that's different. They're not making decisions. We are accountable for the decisions that we make, the governing body. And I do not support that 3-minute limit. And as I say,
To give your councilman report.
when it comes to the council, whether it's a council report or even on the issues,
Well, I'll look at Robert's Rules of Orders.
yeah, okay. Well, let's do that, but you know, the reality is this. In the charter, the governing body can make a decision and make that decision without your approval.
That's right.
In the charter, it even says the duties of the council, and it even lays out the duties of the mayor, and it even says that the council, the governing body, can even present or give the mayor duties that we want you to follow on. So, but we need to respect each other. But yeah, I don't think that the council should be limited in what we ask, the questions we ask, or what we say. A councilor may bring a question up, and that may trigger another question in me.
Okay, for tonight's sake, I'll go ahead and forego the 3 minutes. We'll have to discuss this as a group later. Is that all?
With that, that's my motion. With those
Mr. Mayor,
changes?
can I have for clarification, your motion, amendment to the motion is council's report after the mayor's appointments and executive session after public input?
Okay, I'll go ahead and amend it, because I had put it after city managers, but we'll do it after the mayor's.
Okay.
I have a second by Councilor Baca. So I have a first by Councilor Romero, a second by Councilor Baca. Roll call. Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
Councilor Baca?
Yes?
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
Councilor Olivari Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Romero, a second by Councilor Baca. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda is mayor's appointments and reports. The first item is appointment of elected official and alternate to the North Central New Mexico Economic Development District. And that over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. You're on the Northern, what meeting was it that you went to?
This is one you had asked me to sit on, but
Okay.
then you sent me an email to see if I could sit in for you on the workforce board, which that's the work. So there's 2 different boards.
Okay.
Usually the mayor sits on, and I know you had asked me to sit on, so it's up to you.
On the Workforce Board? Okay. Mr. Montoya, do you have any, Mr. Olivari, any desire to serve on those, in that capacity? Mr. Baca?
I didn't even know this item was going to be on the agenda, so I'm not prepared to
Okay.
appoint anybody.
All right.
But is this a workforce solution or?
No.
Uh-uh.
There's that's the one that Mr. Romero is going to sit on.
Okay, no, I have no appointments. I have no one that I have talked to about.
Okay.
But whose item is this? Or who put this item on the agenda?
Bill Hendrickson recommended that we do this because they need representation on the board.
Do we have a candidate? Or, this is the first time I hear about this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So there's a couple, this one is one of them that has to do with economic development for the North Central area. The other one's workforce solutions one. I know the workforce solution one, there was some issues, and I think I had brought it up to the mayor a while back, that they had said that the city and the county hadn't attended. As a matter of fact, I was at on a meeting yesterday, and they've been, actually, not only us, you know, there's other, based off of the time, they're having a hard time having a quorum. So, and I guess, to my understanding, this one also is, this one, I know there was talk about, I guess, Mr. Hendrickson sitting on it, but it has to be an elected official.
Right.
So that's, and their recommendation based off of their bylaws has to be appointed by the governing body. And there's a meeting on the 19th, and that's the reason why I think Dr. Taylor had asked to put this item on the agenda.
Yeah, I asked to put this on the agenda because we had conversations with them, and talked to Councilor Romero. Councilor Romero told me that he was to be your appointee for that, and my understanding in talking to the staff at the North Central Board is that it had to be approved. It had to be approved by council, and that's why we put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Was to formalize what was actually.
Are you willing to serve?
I'm willing, as a matter of fact, I was just going to mention that is the workforce board only meets almost like biannually. So that one's not, it's not like, I mean, I have the time to do this
Okay.
one if you wanted. I mean,
All right.
I'll nominate him.
Okay. I have a motion to nominate Mr. Romero, Second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ulibarri. Roll call?
Counselor Baca?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Ulibarri Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, is the counselor's report.
Who wants to go first?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Ulibarri?
I just want to congratulate the city housing department that the good work that they demolished all the houses that need to be demolished. And our streets, our potholes are getting really, it looks really nice. Our residents are really happy about it. They're doing it the right way. They're doing good work. I just want to thank the staff for the job they're doing.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. O'More?
If I may, I want to also commend basically Dr. Taylor and his staff. I know we've all brought issues to him and they're getting addressed in a timely manner. I'd also like to commend Stephen Aragon and the rec staff and also Mr. Archuleta. Yesterday, I, along with J.D. Labrie and Elizabeth Pino, which are employees at the rec, and the rec department, and we went door to door. As you all know, we did get some legislative funding to do the Crestone Circle Park. And, one of the issues that we talked about was getting public input. So I, along with those two employees, went door to door to every home up in the Crestone Circle area and handed out those surveys. And they have till Sunday to, fill out those surveys, put them in a box. Stephen went ahead and built a box, an input box, and put it at the park. So, they have till Sunday to report on that. And once we get the results of all that, we're going to compile them, and the planner will be addressing those, right, Dr. Taylor? So I want to, it didn't take too long. It took us 2 hours to walk the area, and we handed out door to door, handed out those surveys, and, people were very happy that we were making that initiative. And good. I just want to report that and continue to, acknowledge Dr. Taylor and his staff, because he has his employees getting things done. So thank you, Dr. Taylor.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I would also like to thank, staff is awesome. We had a cleanup day on Ward 2, and I want to thank our mayor and our council. They all showed up. Our city manager showed up, and some of staff showed up. We had 36 individuals that showed up, and we worked on cleaning up the area around Legion from Councilman Romero. Ulibarri cleaned all the way from the Hana Park to the hospital.
I saw it. Truckloads.
Him and one of our neighbors down there. But the area looks a lot, it has been beautified. You can tell the difference, and people have commented on it. That's what Unity brings, change, a good change. And the disposal cost was $13.87. The equipment rental, for instance, if we would have been charging, it would have been $75.03. Transportation, $8.25. The tax was $5.19, so it was $98.33 for 440 pounds collected of trash. Okay. The fire department also went out there and sprayed down and washed down the playground over at the park. So thanks to them too. But the cost was $2.23 per pound. Now this program of the KAB will have some kind of numbers to start working with, so that they can apply for funding for future cleanups. But the total of volunteer hours were 36 times 6 hours. That's $216 times $18.75 an hour. We saved the citizens and the city of Las Vegas a savings of $3,956.37. And I applaud those citizens that came out and helped out, and that's what it's all about. And I'm going to be more than willing to help on the other wards, and a day at a time, and we'll get it done. On another subject, I want to thank New Mexico Highlands University, Dennis Rivera. He's the plant superintendent up there for building and grounds, and he did sent his employees and cleaned up this park right behind the 1129, if anybody has noticed. It looks like a park to me.
Looks real nice.
It looks really nice, and they cleaned all the shrubs and all the weeds and all the rocks and all that kind of stuff. So it's right behind the Salvation Army. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to be joining the city and Highlands in cleaning up in between there and the rec center. So
Do you know what time?
at 6:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to start early. So anybody that wants to join, we're going to be trimming trees and that, and cleaning up that area. One last item I wanted to mention was, I want to thank our manager and our Public Works Director for joining me to solve an issue up on Pickle Street and Columbia Street. This is our people that have been ignored for the last 5-6 years apparently. And they had little problems, they had unwanted traffic there. They had branches and trees falling down and so forth. But the city went in there and cleaned it up, and they, thanks to the New Mexico Department of Transportation, because they, we acquired some Jersey barriers to close off that dead-end street.
Oh, good.
And it's also in the process of being abated, and those owners, the two neighbors, want to purchase that property from the city, and we have no use for it, so that will probably be coming down the road. But I want to thank everybody that helps out the community, whether it's a Salvation Army or a high school program, anything. If everyone would pitch in an hour or two a week, that goes a long ways. We save a lot of money by doing that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, on that cleanup that was done on Ward 2, on that particular day, I spent the whole, probably an hour and a half, just in the parking lot where Bell's is at, and picked up a lot of trash there. But I noticed that in that section, it's a very visible section, very busy. There's some nice shrubbery there, some cactus and some other shrubs, flowering shrubs. There's also weeds and dried leaves and all that, and some Chinese elms that are growing. So I went in to introduce myself to the owner of the business that's there on the corner that sells the carports and the sheds and all this. So his name is John. But I mentioned to him that I was going to contact the owner of the property, which is Mr. Lupe Trujillo, and ask Lupe Trujillo if he would be willing to donate some money so we can buy some shrubs to plant in that intersection. So I asked this man, John, if he would be willing to donate money as well if Mr. Trujillo does. And all he told me, he says, bring me a figure and we'll talk from there. So I'm going to pursue that, hoping we could get money from them to donate to clean up, to landscape that area. So I'll let you know if it happens.
Thank you.
Or if it happens, you'll see the results.
Yeah. Anybody else? Chad, his council's report. Huh? Is that his council's report? Do you have another council's report?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Mayor's Recognitions Proclamations, and we have a certificate of recognition on the retirement of Andrea Gutierrez and presentation of plaque by Chief Vero.
Hi, welcome. Everybody, this is Andrea Gutierrez. She's retiring from the police department
Congratulations.
as a corporal.
Actually, that was...
A long time ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you were the first female to make corporal
Yes, sir.
at the police department. Wow. K-9 officer,
Yes, sir.
first female narcotics agent, first female officer to retire. Wow. You served our community of Las Vegas with great honor, selfless dedication, and tireless efforts. We recognize you for your commendable service and integrity to the City of Las Vegas Police Department. Congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Members of the council, I can tell you that it's truly a bittersweet moment. Bitter because we're losing a lot of experience. Andrea is an officer that needs no supervision. You tell her what to do, she gets it done. But truly sweet because she has earned the right to retire. She's given a lot of herself to the city of Las Vegas and to the state of New Mexico. So with that, I'll read it aloud. Andrea Gutierrez, Field Training Officer, with deepest gratitude for 20 years of service, 2001 to 2020.
Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words? You can take your mask off if you need to.
Thank you, everybody. It was awesome working for the city, coming back actually, because I left for a short amount and came back. But I love the city of Las Vegas, wanted to retire from when I started, so thank you.
Good. Thank you.
So proud of you. And for the record, Cassandra and Bill, we will be doing a ceremony for every retiring employee that retires for the city of Las Vegas. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda is public input.
Okay.
And I did receive public input via email, and I'll go ahead and read it into the record. Dear Mayor and Councilors, I am writing to voice my opposition to a zone change to accommodate a new coffee shop on the corner of 6th and Mills Avenue. While I am happy that a new business wants to locate in our city, the area they have chosen is not a good place to have a business in terms of traffic congestion. As it is, that area is always congested with people going to Lowe's grocery store. Delivery trucks often block 6th Street from Reynolds to Mills. Further, that particular section of the street is in total disrepair with huge potholes and large chunks of pavement, either completely gone or lying around, causing cars to swerve in order to avoid hitting them. Should the council approve the zone change, then I would respectfully request that the entrance to the coffee shop be located directly off of Mills Avenue and not on 6th Street. This would help a bit with keeping the congestion down in that area. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Barbara Perea, please.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more for public input that signed
Sure.
up, and we have her here tonight, Beth Wings, and she's speaking on item number 3 on the agenda, which is the budget adjustment.
Okay.
You want me to come up here?
Sure.
I'll use my mom voice.
Okay.
My question, when it comes to taking money from one line item to another, and this line item that the funds are being taken out of is the 216 Streets Department. So if they're taking money from that, what's not going to get done?
Okay.
I mean, because we have a project right at where I am, and we keep being told, next spring, next spring, next spring. So that's why I'm wondering, is this going to hinder some other project not to get done?
If you leave your contact information, I can have Mary Romero call you,
Okay.
the finance director, and explain what the transfer is about.
Okay,
Would that be fine?
sure, why not?
Okay.
That's good, thanks.
Thanks, Beth.
You're welcome.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That concludes public input. So our next item on the agenda is the executive session.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
make a motion to enter into executive session, matter subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the city of Las Vegas is or may become a participant as permitted by section 10-15-187 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act and MSA 1978.
I have a motion on the floor. Second, please.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ulibarri. Roll call.
Counselor Baca?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Olivari Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, a second by Counselor Olivari Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. regular session?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I make a motion to go back to regular session after coming back from executive session as permitted by matters subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation to which the city of Las Vegas is, as permitted by 10-15-187 of the Open Meetings Act. And I'd also like to note that only those matters specified in the motion for closure of the meeting were discussed by the governing body in executive session. No other matters were discussed by the governing body.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Second. Roll call, please.
Counselor Baca?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Olivari Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda is presentations. And we have a presentation by Mr. James Gallegos with DOT providing information on the Welcome to Las Vegas signs and maintenance requirements related to sign removal.
We apologize to our guests for waiting. Sometimes these things are necessary, and I apologize, James.
No problem here. I'm used to it. Let me see if I can get back on here. It's coming? Did you get in the hand? Okay, Mayor and...
Now, our Mayor Pro Tem.
What's that? Go ahead, Mr. Gallegos.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councilors. I'd like to thank you all for having me here today. I'd like to thank Dr. Bill Taylor for meeting with me and putting me on the agenda. I don't mind doing that. My name is James Gallegos. I'm the District 4 engineer out here in Las Vegas, New Mexico. And our Transportation Commissioner, Walter Adams, is on the agenda, but he couldn't make it today, and he told me this morning, Mr. James Gallegos, you can handle it. So I'm here today to talk about some things that come up. First of all, the presentation outline I have today, and I think I got a handout there that I gave you all. It is the presentation, so you can look at it there also to kind of give you a feel for what we're going to be talking about. What we discussed is the Grand Avenue Phase 2 project. That's the I-25 project. The Grand Avenue project from I-25 to Tilden, that's a project that we're working on now and trying to wrap up on the south side of the city. I also talked a little bit about Grand Avenue, the Phase 1 project. That's Tilden to Columbia Street to Dairy Queen. That was our middle project on Grand Avenue that we did probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And then the new Gateway Las Vegas sign that we're proposing on the north side of Grand Avenue at Legion Drive. Another item is the landscape and maintenance meeting agreement, adopt a highway median that you all wanted me to present and what the process is. Then another thing that came up is a camera on I-25 at University and New Mexico 104, and then a welcome to Las Vegas sign southbound I-25 at the on and off ramps at University and New Mexico 104. Again, and I don't know, I can go through this presentation fairly quickly, probably in about 10 minutes, and then you guys can ask me questions, or if you want to ask me questions on each specific item, you can just let me know what you all want to do. But the first item here is the Grand Avenue Phase 2 project, and this is the project. We're basically substantially complete on that particular project. Right now, you just see the contractor is grinding down the pavement to get it within our specification for smoothness. So they've been out there for quite a long time. We have a pretty stringent smoothness spec on that particular job. So we're hoping by tomorrow or Friday that will be done, and we feel it's going to meet our specifications. And then next week we will be providing the open graded friction course, the top lift on top of that, which is kind of the icing on the cake, and then the final striping. So we're hoping by the end of next week or the week after we'll have that job basically physically complete. A little bit about the maintenance agreements, and I know Dr. Taylor, Bill Taylor, wanted me to talk a little bit about that. about what is the city responsible for on that particular job. And I gave you guys some handouts, and I think I kind of clouded their phase 1 or phase 2, Grand Avenue. So there's a lighting agreement there, and there's a landscape agreement, and it kind of spells out what the department is supposed to be doing and what the city is responsible for. I'll go through it real quickly. Again, for the lighting, that's the agreement, contract number U0491. And that, again, of course, you guys will be paying the electrical energy for all the lighting out there, pay all costs for any equipment failure on the lighting, and then any luminary placement if damaged, you'll be replacing that. So that's kind of what we, in a nutshell, that's what we do. New Mexico DOT does with just about every local entity that I've worked with, and even the pueblos and tribes, they're typically responsible for the lighting in those particular areas. Then there's a maintenance agreement with the landscaping, and you know that particular project, there's a lot of landscaping out there, and you look at some of the pictures that I have up there on all 3 pictures, you can see some of the landscaping that's on that particular job. The city will be responsible for maintaining the trees and the shrubs there that you see there, and also be responsible for maintaining the sign that's on the south side, the new sign that says Las Vegas. You all be responsible for that, plus the lighting. I talked about that earlier. So in a nutshell, that kind of gives you all a feel for what the city is responsible for on that job. Again, right now there's a 1-year warranty that we have built in for the shrubs and the trees. So and our subcontractors, you'll see them out there every couple of weeks watering. They've already replaced a few shrubs. They haven't replaced a tree yet, but they got to maintain everything until the 1-year warranty is up, and if there's anything dead out there at that time, they got to replace it. So we're kind of monitoring that, but we probably got about another 6 to 7 months to go on that until they're done with that 1-year warranty. We'll move on to the phase 1 project real quickly, and that's the middle project. I'll go through it fairly fast. We completed this job in 2015. This summer we've done a lot of work out there. You notice we did a lot of patching in that particular area. Our crews did a lot of that, and then we had a contractor coming to do a micro-servicing, and we basically kind of did a pavement preservation on that particular job to kind of preserve it and kind of hold it together. We did that on that particular area. We have other projects in the city. New Mexico was also done in New Mexico, and then we had the job that's on Hot Springs that we did also. So we did a lot of work with our microservice along the city, and then we've done some final striping. Now you see our guys out there doing all the sidewalks and the arrows and stuff like that. So a new Gateway Las Vegas sign. Now, there's been talk about that over here on this side on Grand Avenue, right? The same. You see the picture of the sign right there. That's the one on the south side. We were thinking about doing the same identical sign over there, but facing traffic coming in off the off-ramp and coming south. So we're proposing to do the same sign. If you look at the picture to the right there, that's the location right there. We've already kind of built a pad there. My maintenance forces went in there and brought in some millions, and we built the pad to get that done. Our commissioner, Walter Adams, he was able to get $30,000 to help us get that particular sign going. We have that in the budget. But again, what we're going to need from you all is to, just like we do on the other sign, we're going to have you guys, we need to come up with an agreement that you guys will provide the maintenance of that, and we'll go ahead and get it built. So sure, I'm hoping that you all will participate in that. And what I'll do is I'll get that draft going, or I'll get you a final agreement going. I'll get it to you all. And I don't know if you want me to present it to you in council, or do you want me just to work with Dr. Taylor? You can let me know on that. But the quicker I get that done, the quicker I can get some bids and try to get that project going, try to get it done this summer or by the fall.
You can go through Mr. Taylor. It doesn't have to come back to the council.
Mr. Mayor, question. When you say you're talking about the sign here and all the other maintenance, the shrubbery and all that, what do you mean by maintenance? Watering the shrubs? What else? And what about the sign? As far as maintenance?
Well, the sign, and the sign's been up, probably since, February, right? So it hasn't been tagged, and I mean, I haven't seen no graffiti on it. I've seen a lot of people taking pictures and doing stuff with it, but it looks like it's going to be maintenance-free unless someone puts graffiti on it, or a semi runs through it and hits it or something like that. But right now, it's kind of maintenance-free right now. I don't see any issues with that right now, but you never know what could happen.
Did a very good job on that.
Yeah.
It looks very nice. Thank you.
So that's kind of, now the trees and the shrubbery and the bushes that are out there, yes. After they're done, after the warranty is done, if I were you all, I'd try to get some water on some of those, maybe once a month or whatever it is, and do what you need to do there to preserve them. Now the middle job on Grand Avenue, you see some of the trees that are out there. Some of them are big, some of them are growing real well. Some of them we lost. I walked that stretch in the morning, and I see what's happening out there. and it looks like some of them are being maintained. I don't know if you all are maintaining, but it looks like some of the businesses, the real nice ones are being maintained, but they're real nice, but when the businesses are not open, they're the ones that are, you can tell they're not pruning them and stuff like that. But that's kind of what it is in a nutshell, councilors, in regards to that. So moving on to the fourth item here, this is the adopt a median they used to call it back in the days of New Mexico DOT. Now we call it the landscape and maintenance median agreement, and you see on the bottom left over here, that's kind of, it's our responsibility. It's a state road. If you all know of someone who wants to adopt one of the medians on Grand Avenue or any of our state roads, let me know, get us a name and number, and we'll get in contact with them, or have them get a hold of me, and then we'll go ahead and work with them to fill out this application. I know there's some talk about on the Grand Avenue, on the north side of Mills and on the south side of Mills over here, even the one that's right over here.
Yes.
I hear there's talk about a contractor or some local wanting to
Yes.
do that. Let me know and we'll work with them. We want to get it done, so I'll do whatever it is to get it done. But there's certain criteria in the application that they need to follow, and we can work that out.
And they've agreed to adopt it already.
Yes, so
I twisted some
I think
arms.
Dr. Taylor might be able to give me that information, and they'll
Okay.
give me a call. Okay? The cameras on I-25, and this, talk about this a little bit. Have you ever been on New Mexico roads, any of you? If you've ever been on New Mexico roads, it's a very good tool, right? And I use it quite a bit, especially in the wintertime, so I want to know what's going on in Raton, I want to know what's going on in Santa Rosa on I-40, I-25. But we don't have any cameras from Glorieta on I-25 all the way to Raton, so there's a big space in there that, you know, if I'm in Santa Fe, I want to know what's going on in Las Vegas, I can't find out, I go to Raton and Glorieta. So the push is here, and what happened at the end of last year, our ITS people out of Albuquerque, out of that district, they run all the cameras and all throughout the state. They were asking for a list of cameras of what the needs that we need on every district, and there was a bunch, right? But I had about 12 needs throughout my district in regards to cameras, and this right here on University and I-25 in Las Vegas was my number one priority, but because of all the COVID-19 and because of the lack of funding, they pulled everything, right? So now they pulled everything, but I'm hoping that what I really want to do is talking to our ITS folks. They told me they would provide the equipment, and they said, James, you got to provide installation. So right there, kind of, you know, $40,000 for equipment, $30,000 I install. I think when my budget comes in July, I'll see if I can absorb that and get that done, because I think it's critical for the DOT and the folks within this community to know what's going on with the cameras. So we'll be working that out here probably after July and trying to get that going. But that would be my responsibility, handling that. You guys don't have to do any maintenance agreements or anything like that. I just want to let you all know that that's what we're planning on doing in the University, New Mexico 104 area. And then this is the Welcome to Las Vegas, New Mexico sign. I know this is Councilor Baca. When I met him a year ago when I first started, he talked a little bit about this, and I know he's been pushing this. I can go over it fairly quickly. I think it's a great idea, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done if we're going to do this, okay? So, and this is something typical that the New Mexico DOT doesn't do, but they will support a local entity to get it done if this is what the local entity, if the governing body wants to do. So, first of all, we need a resolution from the city council to concur with this conceptual design. Is this what the city wants to do? And we need to get a resolution drawn up in regards to that.
Yeah, do you have anybody that can work on a design as far as colors and design? I really like the one that you put out back here, I mean on I-25.
Yes.
I don't necessarily like that. I think
Yeah.
it's very plain and sort of nostalgic.
Well, that, again, so if I go through this, the city's going to have to take the lead on this because, you know, if you've ever been through the Puaca-Santa Fe corridor, and I was involved in building that.
Yes.
We got all the pueblos and the tribes and the counties, Santa Fe County, to do all that, to work on making those decisions out there, right? It's a decision-making process, because us as a department, you know, we'll do whatever we can do, but there's separate funding to help that. And as I go through this, you know, of course we need a resolution to maintain it, just like we're doing the other signs. So it's, you know, these are things that we need to do. And again, if I-20 is a federal highway, we're going to have to get federal highway to approve it. And it could be done. Don't get me wrong. If you go to the village of Las Lunas, that's where I'm originally from, the village really did some really cool stuff on that interchange on New Mexico 6. But they took the lead on that, and then District 3 DE kind of supported it, and they were able to get, like I said, you move on down the line here, they were able to get enhancement money, and that's federal money that the feds will take care of, but you got to go through this process, right? And I kind of, I'm spelling out the process there. I know you guys, I only have 10 minutes, I'm probably over the timeline. But, you know, over here in this area, we have to go through the NERPO process, and I think Daniel Boleas in the city has done some of that, right? And we're part of that too. But if it's something that the city really wants to do, and this council wants to do, then we need to probably start with some resolutions to kind of get the ball rolling. And are we going to, this is what we want to do, and we'll support that effort. Again, we needed the consultant, I put down that we need a consultant to do the design.
Yes.
I mean, it looks good on paper, but like if you go through the Pocket Court, all that artwork, it had to be designed and it had to be
Yeah.
designed by somebody, almost like an artist has to do it, and that's what you typically have to hire, someone to do that, to put it on the
Yes.
plan, because then you gotta be able to put it on the slope, on that concrete slope, and make it all work out, see? And someone's gonna have to pay for that, and the enhancement money through the feds can help participate in doing that, we just gotta
Right.
go through the process, the NERPO process.
I just think if we're gonna invest in something, it might as well look nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my opinion. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and councilors, if I can give a little bit of feedback on this. I'm sure you all heard this, I know I have. From the business community, I've heard for years from the business community asking, what can we do to get the traffic off of I-25 to stop and come into town to shop? So I started working on this idea probably 5-6 years ago. And when I stood out of my hill up at KFUN, I looked at the slab and I thought, that could be a free canvas for some kind of a welcome message. So I put that on my computer, and then I started talking to people in town to see if I could get people to donate money. And then I met James, and I started talking to him about it. And also Walter went to the station to see it. But then the more I thought about it, the project expanded to where, I'm sure you've seen it, that on TV, when the TV stations are covering road conditions on the freeways or in towns or winter conditions or whatever, so every time I'd see, every different towns on TV, and I say, well, how come we don't have a camera here in town? And so I started talking to James about it. Then I contacted Channel 7, and I sent him a copy of this photo. Then I got an email from Joe Diaz saying, fantastic, can we log on to that camera to broadcast it on TV and to put it on our website? I told him, you should be able to. Genesis has said that they would be willing to have a camera, and I guess, is that the camera you're talking about, that now the money bit has been pulled?
I don't know, well, Mayor, Mr. Councilor, I don't know if it's Genesis. Our ITS folks, that's a division within our department, this is all they do. Charles
Yeah.
Remskes does this. So we have contracts to do this type of work, and we just got to get the funding for, like I said, they can get the equipment, and then we can get a contractor, and it's already like a state price agreement, and we can get it done. We just got to come up with the monies on this.
Yeah.
And then we got to find a location. What's the best location? I mean, I think it's a good location, yes, but what we really want to see, we want to see that, and we can see it. We want to see what's going on. If you want to get on there and you want to know if it's snowing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, that camera should be pointing down the interstate to also to make sure that they can see what's going on around it.
Yeah.
At the same time, maybe we can catch some of that, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And so, anyway, what I was thinking too is that if we could get that camera installed, and the reason I mentioned Genesis is because they have an 80-foot tower about 25 feet out from my front door, where they have their dishes for their internet. It has all the electricity and everything there. But my thought was, boy, think of the free publicity Las Vegas would get through the whole state, parts of Colorado where Channel 7 covers, if we could get a camera that would show that. And when the TV stations pick it up, that's free publicity that we couldn't even pay for. And it goes along with the wayfinding now that Main Street is doing with the signs to get travelers into our historic district. I think this would support that. But anyway, so I don't want to go on and on and on because there's a lot more to it. But well, one thing too I thought on this one, because I know someone had mentioned to me, well, what if it's graffitied? Well, I thought this project would be a nice one too. If we do this, if the council decides to do it, let's get the youth involved in painting a nice something, a mural maybe by the entrance. Could be a mural of Hermit's Peak with the beautiful mountains, a stream coming down from the mountains, emptying out to depict Story Lake. I don't know, a natural scene to make the entrance really more appealing to the travelers, to encourage them to get off the freeway and come into town to shop. But anyway.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
Mr. Gallegos, I want to thank you, first of all, for all the job your department has been doing. Grand Avenue, New Mexico Avenue, and 65. Looks beautiful. On the lighting, you're not including the traffic lighting, right? It's just the street lighting
Yeah.
that the city is in charge of.
Well, you guys...
For maintenance.
Yes.
The traffic lights, you guys are still in.
Yes, Council, the city's paying for the electricity, but we still got to maintain those light signals.
Yes, okay. Yeah, and also, I want to thank you for the millions across the road. You beautified this area back here, and then Highlands went and cleaned that park, so it looked really nice. But thank you for partnering with the city of Las Vegas and doing that job on Legion and other places that we paved. Joint effort, and as a training session, as well as helping each other out, blade patching those roads badly needed. I hope that continues. And I agree with you, you guys use all these monies, all these funds to help us, and it should be up to us to maintain those things. I more than welcome this welcoming center here on the north end, the same thing down there, and I'm all for it. You know, if those contracts were signed by Team Dodge in 2009, and we got to continue those kind of contracts with the city if we want to beautify our city and our surrounding areas. But I thank you for everything that you guys do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gallegos. We really appreciate your partnership with the city, and let Mr. Adams know that we appreciate everything that he's doing for his district too.
Thank you.
Yes. I just had one, on the federal monies, how long is the process to get that?
Yeah, Mayor, Councilor Romero, it could take, it just depends. It depends on how aggressive the city is at these NERPO meetings, right? And if this is the priority that the city wants, you know what I mean? If you all get together and say, hey, our number one priority is to do something like that and get enhancement money, well, you're going to have to go through, it probably could take several years, 3 or 4 years, 2 years. It just depends on how aggressive the city is, and then we'll back it up. But again, you all got to come up with a decision. This is what the city wants, you know what I mean? Because I think what we really need to do on something like that, I think Councilor Baca has a great idea, but maybe we need to hire somebody to take a look at that, and maybe take a look at some other things that you may want to all do. I don't know, I can't tell you what to do, but that's what I've seen, like the Village of Las Lunas, the Pohuaque Pueblo.
Yes.
They would hire a consultant that could do this kind of stuff and show just, I know Councilor Baca did a great job doing that, but they could show different scenarios of that you can all see and say, okay, this is what we really want to do.
So this goes to those that, the one that's planning on the wayfindings, would we be able to tie that if we do decide as a council?
The wayfinding is not fully, we haven't fully funded it yet, so we got to a good start, but, that would be something it is something that could be financed out of larger accounts.
And that thing, also, I thank you, Mr. Gallegos, and everything you've done. I mean, Councilor Montoya has mentioned a lot of items. I know you've helped with the message boards when COVID started. You helped us out with that, and I appreciate the collaboration that you've done with the city. I mean, it's awesome. We didn't have that before, so thank you, and Mr. Adams.
I just want to thank you, Mary, and councilors. I've been here for about 14 months now, and I think I've been talking to the city in the last couple of months. There's been a lot of communication, which is good, and I was wondering what had happened before, because this is where the district is, right? So I'm willing to work with all of you and work with your staff to help make our transportation system whole. That's what the goal is.
Mr. Gallegos, I too want to thank you. I'm amazed at how beautiful Grand looks, all of it, and all the work you're doing and your staff. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's really a big help to the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Cassandra.
The next item on the agenda is the city manager's report.
Bill, do you want to step up here so people can hear you?
So I did a bulleted report, which I think everybody has.
Yes.
And so I think we get through it pretty quickly. I won't read them, but I'll just kind of go through the main points. So the first is about the city's budget outlook. And so we're about to finish a year, and you'll get a report from Mary Romero's financial report in just a minute. It doesn't look too bad, but the outlook, as I say here, is fuzzy. And so we just don't know what it's going to look like. We actually we've got really good news about what our gross receipts tax is like so far this year, but we don't know what happens when the unemployment insurance dries up, and the $1,200 stimulus goes away. So, we're reliant upon the information we get from the state, and the state's about to go into special session. They're going to reduce the state's estimate on gross receipts tax by 21%. So if we did the same for us, that's a cost of about, that means our budget would be reduced by about $1.5 million. $1.5 million on a $12 million budget is a big deal. And that's assuming that nothing except gross receipts goes down. So it could be worse than that. So, that's something that we're looking at very closely as we prepare a budget recommendation for you all coming up. We're looking very carefully at where we're spending money. We've put a selective hiring freeze on, and so we're doing everything we can. We're moving people into the best possible places. We're doing everything we can to reduce our spending in the event that things turn out this bad. I mean, who knows? It's anybody's guess. As you might have seen yesterday, the retail sales actually jumped by 14%, but that was after a big decline. And so we don't know. We're talking about human behavior, and we just don't know what it is. We're also hopeful that at the special session that the legislature is going to provide some money to cities to help with the budget situation, and they're talking about that. There's a proposal by the LFC. There's using COVID money. If that came through, we think that our share might be $1.5 million, which would then put us just fine. I mean, in terms of being basically where we were this year. But again, we don't know that that'll happen, and so we have to plan for the more negative scenario. So I just wanted to let you know that that's where we are with that. Some of these other things we'll go through more quickly. Parks and Recreation, they all reopened and on June 5th, and the hours that they had were open from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. On Monday through Friday, and 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays. So far, we've seen not that much use early in the morning. We haven't seen very much use on the weekend, and given that our budget situation is very murky at best, I've talked to Stephen about coming up with some scenarios where we reduce those hours to try to save some money on staffing, because it's very expensive right now to it's always expensive. You'll see in our report, we spent $400,000 of general fund money for that program, and it just and because of COVID, we had to have 4 people there at all times. So we have 4 people there, and we've got 4 people using the place, and it's just it probably doesn't make sense in this time, especially in this budgetary times, to do that. So we're going to be looking at changing those hours in the near future, probably on July 1st. Parks and Rec, they identified a number of parks that needs special attention. I think it's the word Stephen used. And so he's got his, I think everybody's seen that they've done a good job. They've really cleaned up a lot of the parks. If you go to, my wife was just telling me, she walks 10 miles every day, and she walks all over this town. She was telling me that the park off Chavez Street just looks really nice, and so they're doing a lot. And they're gonna be doing a lot more next week. So my hats off to those guys. We only have 3 guys on parks, and so we're using some of the guys from the recreation center to supplement them in these times when there has not been that much activity going on there. Maybe Louis might want to talk about the next item. He and I met with the Sam Minner and President of Highlands and the UWC President Victoria Mora on a number of ways that the city and the university's higher education in general could collaborate. There was a number of concrete things that came out. I just highlighted 2. One is to have kind of a big welcome back ceremony when school reopens mid-August or so. And the other is to see ways that we could utilize our volunteer resources. They provide a lot of volunteer resources, and there are a lot of people out there who are interested in volunteering. And one of the things that stuck in my mind for a long time was the New Mexico Bureau of Business Economic Research said you have so many resources. people, so many people want to be involved, but you need to have them rowing together. And so one of the things I talked to the mayor about from the beginning is maybe having a coordination person in the city. We're not in a position to go out higher, but maybe reallocating some resources, somebody to help us with that, something I'm hoping we can move forward on pretty soon.
Coordinating community service within the
Coordinating community services. And when we mentioned that at this meeting, I think that we got a very warm reception from the United World College and from Highlands University. They're willing to provide volunteers, and we just need to find ways to all work together. And we've got, it's not just them. It's the Rotary Club. It's all these different organizations. Taking care of the parks, creating Friends of the Parks kind of organizations. I think we can do a lot with those resources, which will be especially useful when we don't have the resources ourselves. The kinds of things that Dr. Montoya talked about, the kinds of things we did last weekend when we did the cleanup, or 2 weekends ago. It was, we were able to do it in large part because people were willing to volunteer and make their community more beautiful. The Utilities Department's customer service is open, and they'll have a full-fledged grand opening in the near future. And just a reminder, I didn't put it on there, that we are doing a tour on Friday morning from 9 to 3, and several of our staff are going. I'm going. Our finance director, our HR director, all the folks that are new here, we want to get the good grounding and what the city's all about and all the kinds of services we provide. And anybody who hasn't been on it should take advantage of that opportunity. So I wanted to remind everybody and extend that offer again.
Excuse me, Mayor, councilors, is that the tour where we would tour all the utilities and all
Yes.
that? And you said scheduled for what time?
9 o'clock in the morning to 3.
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to get away from.
But if you can get away from any part of it,
Yeah.
then we'll go in separate cars, and we'll have, you can reach us by phone to catch up. This last bullet on this page, the Utilities Department, Parks, Recreation, I put in here the Fire Department. We're all working on and different ways to promote the Riverwalk, and one of the things that we are able to take advantage of is that there was a grant that was made by the Tourism Department. They're really interested in this as a first step and something that we can continue on with a long-term, maybe a longer-term relationship to clean up the Riverwalk, to educate the young people in environmental issues, and that's a big part of it, education, going to the schools and all of those kinds of things, but also getting a number of kids, I think something like 17 high school and other lower level students involved. And so we don't know exactly what the grant's going to be. It's probably going to be on the order of $40,000. We'll probably talk to Maria Gilbury. The water department is going to support this in some small way with a small contract to supplement that, because there's kind of a need for some work on our side to help make this happen. So I think we're seeing some really nice things happen there, and it's going to be something that's important for the quality of life where everybody lives here, but also as a way to make our city more beautiful. This next item is on the second page. Is something that came to our attention just this morning. The governor, there was a press release, and it was asking that cities not allow fireworks sales. And so Billy Montoya and the deputy chief came and to see me about that. Problem that we have is that there's also rules about when you can make these kinds of changes, and this could not happen. The only way it could have happened was if all the cities had done this on the day that initiative was announced. And so their recommendation is that we continue to observe the city ordinance, which is pretty restrictive on the use of fireworks. And the big problem we have there actually is enforcement. And so the fire department does.
Why would we not pass a resolution to ban the sales?
So, and I think is DC here? Can you explain that, DC? There's a state statute.
Mr. Mayor and Council, by state statute 60-2C, we have to pass that ban 20 days prior to the holiday.
Got you.
The day the governor passed it was the 20th day.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, to that issue, that's why I asked that question one meeting ago or 2 meetings ago. And I had that story from the governor on the news. And the whole thing is that they are really serious, which I mentioned as well, that the whole state of New Mexico, we're in very serious issue when it comes to drought and the fire danger. And so that's why I brought it up at that time, because of the fire danger. And then people are not careful with the fireworks. And so, anyway.
And I think that that's part of the problem.
Yeah,
You've
right.
got rules and you've got enforced rules, and I think that the chief came to see me this morning with DC, and it's like, we've already got rules on restrictive use of fireworks, but they can't do it alone, the fire department. They need the help of the police department. They need maybe help with some of our other enforcement people.
So are we planning, Mayor and councilors, to have the city's firework display?
No,
No?
because of COVID,
Okay.
large gatherings.
Right. Before the city manager is done, I wanted to make a comment on the issue of the budget for the state. In this special session, the governor and the legislators are looking at a $2 billion shortfall. $2 billion shortfall. And the governor also mentioned already that she may call back a lot of the money that has gone back out to the communities. That could happen again. 2 weeks ago, I met with 2 hours with Senator Campos, and we're talking about the state budget, and he may be calling in to give a live report from the roundhouse on the special session, so I can put him on the air. But he said one thing to me that really stuck out. He told me, Joseph, you guys are doing fine right now because, grocery receipts tax are always 2 months behind, so we're getting money from that. But he told me, come 2021, you guys are going to have to make some tough decisions.
We know.
So, well, yeah, I'm just saying what he's referring to. And in 2022, probably it's going to get worse.
Go ahead, Mr. City Manager.
We're really worried about it. But
Go ahead.
this next bullet is this was a meeting that I actually had this morning with Scott Aaron and the fire chief and the deputy fire chief and the fire chief for the county. We're looking at possibility of going out for issuing an RFP for ambulance services, and we're thinking that together, maybe operating together, we could, with a bigger pot of money out there, we could attract more interest. And the whole idea of this is, can we improve the services that we have? And so there's some concerns about that, so we'll keep you apprised of what's happening there.
Thank you.
And then I think we already talked about Public Works and all the work they're doing on the potholes. I think Councilor Olivari made that mention. In my report that I got from the Public Works Director, he made the point that we're learning, we're doing it better. We're cutting them out bigger. They're using better materials, we're sticking. So really happy about that. And they've done a lot. And then the last thing I had there, I attached this map, and that map shows you the street sweeping schedule, which I outlined in the bullet about which days get swept. It's a guideline. If something happens, sometimes we don't adhere to it strictly, but it tells you that we do have a plan to get street swept every day, every week in the city. And a final point that I didn't have on my report, that I talked to Councilor Olivari about just before we got here, and he said you should announce that. And that's, we had COVID testing for all of us, all city employees, and that happened last Friday. We just started to get results. I got my call yesterday. We have not had a single person yet tested positive, and so we're very happy about that.
Good.
That's my report.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate all your hard work.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to make a comment. Thank you, Bill. I had a lot of comments from our residents on my ward about the potholes. We're doing them right. We're happy about it, and you're doing a good job. So keep keep it up with it, and with directors and everything. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Sure. Yes, sir. I can also, Dr. Taylor and Mr. Gurule, thank you. I know we had that concern on Silva Street and Dolores Street. You guys went out there with the vacuum, I guess it was the vacuum from the street sweeper?
Yeah.
And they did the curb and gutter, so thank you. The residents were very happy.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda is our finance report. We have Mary Romero, our finance director.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you for being here late with us.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the budget report for May. You all got this?
Yes.
All right, so the top part, of course, is the revenue, and it's by source, and then the bottom part are the expenses by department, and this is for general fund, the first page. So the revenue to date from all sources is $11,046,412. The expenditures by all departments in the general fund is $10,429,524, for a surplus to date of $616,888. We are a little bit below what we were at last year for property taxes. Property tax collections are about 3.8% slower this year. We hope that will quickly catch up because it's not forgiven, they still owe it. As for gross receipts tax, we're up about 4% from last year, so we haven't seen that hit yet. As Dr. Taylor mentioned, we found out today June's gross receipts tax, and the gross receipts tax for June is about 4.5% higher than last June's. So, see, still not a hit. So we're in good condition this year. But of course, as everybody has said today, it's going to probably hit us starting next month. So it's just a matter of waiting to see what happens there. Any questions on the general fund?
Is there anything there, Marion? I'll always ask you this question that you need to alert us about.
No, we do have a couple of funds that are running low as far as available balances. But that was because of a couple of people that left the city that were paid out big sick leave and annual leave balances. So other than that, everything's, it's a healthy budget so far.
On that, is there a possibility that we could look at changing the payouts and limiting annual leave and sick leave?
I think that Donna Castro
Okay.
is looking at that. And
okay, good.
It's on the agenda for tonight. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I just have one question pertaining to the rec center. I know, Dr. Taylor's looking at that, but how soon are we looking at addressing that?
As far as reduced hours?
As far as reducing the cost, I mean, of course, we have to do something pretty quick. We can't wait too long, so.
I think.
We're planning to do something very quick. I think that Steven and I are going to get together on, I want to do it I want to make a decision within the next couple of days and then have time to alert the community so that they don't show up and it's just closed and they're used to coming at 7 in the morning and now we're going to open at 9. But by July 1st at the latest, we'll have some changes there. I mean, this is a big deal. There's a lot of cities that are in a lot worse situations than we are. Taos, for example, which not only lives on the gross receipts tax, it's 2/3 of our revenue is probably the same for them, but theirs also comes not just from the residents, but a lot of it comes from tourists.
Yeah.
And they're not getting that money. They closed their recreation center.
And that's what I was going to ask.
Most indefinitely.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
All right, the
Go
next,
ahead.
the next one, second page, are the enterprise funds. The enterprise funds have brought in from all sources $15,153,651. And year-to-date expenditures, $15,305,785 for a deficit of $152,134. So their deficit has gone down a lot. So they're operating, they were budgeted for a $3.8 million deficit, and they're really doing good.
Good.
So, any questions on utilities?
I just had one question, and it was off of something that Mr. Baca said. Is there any money that that the city has that has not been used, like, that came from this state? Any particular projects?
Off the top of my head, I don't know of any.
Okay, because we need to spend it tonight.
I think,
Just
I
kidding.
think we're going to lose one. Was that one of the parks?
We've been very concerned about that. So we have tried to do something to encumber all of those monies, because if the money's encumbered, then they
Right.
actually don't take it back. So,
Right.
we've done, I mean, there were a couple small ones.
Okay.
We said that we couldn't protect.
Right, there's one. It was for some park.
Yeah, and it was a very small amount of money.
Right, it was very small, and that one was, none was encumbered to date, so that was frozen.
Okay.
Right. All right, the next one, any questions besides that one? No? Okay. The next one is the Recreation Department. This is the one you can see, where their actual to date, $492,149, and they have spent $585,866 for a deficit of $93,717. But of that $492,149 from revenue, $366,520 are general fund transfers. So they're eating up a lot of the general fund, but that's the way it was set up.
Let me just make a comment about that. Where that general fund is going to come in right on target. If you add another month on, it's going to, I just did the math. It's just going to be $399,900, which is, we budgeted $400,000 for that. But the most worrisome part is that that's not enough, because they're actually going to be over that budget by another $90,000 or so.
Or more.
So we're spending about $500,000 on the operations of that facility, and it's a very important facility. But we're all, and in addition to that, we're spending $400,000 on the debt service associated. So you're now up to $900,000 going to the recreation center. So it's a big deal.
Okay.
Okay, and then the last one is the lodger's tax. The lodger's tax has had revenue from both their sources of $341,144, and they have used up $275,740 for a surplus of $65,404. So this, I'm surprised they're still on track.
Right, poor thing.
Yeah. Any
All right.
questions on this one?
No. Mary, I just wanna, I always pinch myself because I think we have like the best team working here, and, I mean, 2 deans of the business school, one is our manager, one is our finance director. I just feel so blessed, and good HR director and everything, but the work you do, Mary, is very important and very appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Okay, I have one other thing that I want to talk about, and we found out about this yesterday. We paid off a loan with the New Mexico Finance Authority June 1st, and they sent us an email yesterday, so it was too late to put on the agenda. Loan number Las Vegas 24 PPRF 2936, which was originally to purchase police vehicles. That was the loan that was paid off, and we received a refund. We overpaid the loan by 43 cents, and we had a reserve set up at the state of $11,619.56. So the amount of money that we received was $11,619.99. I contacted DFA, and they do not require council approval for refunds. So I just wanted to let you know that this happened, and we will have a refund from this loan.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay?
That's good news.
Where will that be going into? What line
was
item? What line item will that be going into?
This will go
Or just the general
back
fund?
into general fund. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you,
No?
Mary.
Okay, that's my report.
I appreciate your time being here.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to wait so late. to do
I
your
still have to
report.
wait. Yeah, one more coming up later.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on the agenda is our consent agenda.
What's the pleasure of the council, Mr. Mayor? Yes.
There's no objection if there's none. Did I like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second, please.
Second.
Second by Mr. Uribarri. Roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Baca?
Yes.
Counselor Uribarri Jr.?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, a second by Counselor Uribarri Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is our business items. Item 1 is to conduct a public hearing and approval, disapproval to adopt ordinance 20-02. This is an amendment to the official zoning map for the city of Las Vegas. We have Maria Perea, our planning and zoning coordinator, to present.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
make a motion to enter the public hearing. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Montoya. Go ahead.
Counselor Baca?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Uribarri Jr.?
Yes.
A motion by Counselor Romero, second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. Maria, welcome.
Thank you guys for hearing me. Good evening, Counselor, Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
We can have our city attorney swear in anybody who sees
Oh.
on the issue.
Can you go?
Raise your right hand.
Are you going to swear everybody in to work right away?
Well, I'll start with you since you're speaking, and then as they come up, we'll do it. Okay, I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that the testimony I'm about to give
that the testimony I'm about to give
is true to the best of my knowledge and belief.
is true to the best of my knowledge and belief.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Ms. Clerk, do we approve the record proper right now or at the end?
You can do it after the testimony.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Again, good evening, Mayor, City Councilors. Thank you for having me speak before you. My first presentation is a presentation for a zone change at 1412 6th Street by Pay and Save Inc. and who are the owners of the property, and the purchasers, which is Centerpoint Development LLC out of Scottsdale, Arizona. They are requesting the zone change because they do want to do a coffee shop in that area. And as you've seen in the plans, they have a little site plan that shows how they want to build it. And my Planning and Zoning Commission recommended that one of the things that they changed was the north entrance and make it an exit. And do the south entrance, which is already there, back and forth, and just go around and just make it an exit, making an easier access to 6th Street and to Mills Avenue. In the packet that I gave you, there was 2 letters. One was for the project, one was against it because of the traffic.
Yes.
There, the condition of the roads, just as Barbara Perea Casey stated with her testimony, the same thing. And Centerpoint Development was not unable to be here tonight, but they are willing to make changes to their plan as things go around. But the zone change, the purchase of the property is contingent on the zone change being approved.
Okay. Do you have anyone speaking for this?
I'm the only one that's here. He was unable to make it because he lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, and because of all this COVID-19 stuff, he was unable to make it.
So I was just, what I wanted to do is make sure that we take those considerations of the people who took time to write in. So just to make clear, their main entrance will be off 6th Street and then go around the shop and then exit onto Mills.
Not right now. The way they have it right now, if you see it, the entrance is, there's already an entrance there on 6th Street, close to that, I'm trying to think, 6th Street's like this. So right here, there's like a brick wall.
Yes.
There's already an entrance in there.
Okay.
That would be the entrance. It would go around, and they have an exit on the north side, close to Mills.
Okay.
And they had it back and forth, and they have recommendation by Planning and Zoning and by Mr. Goodlay, the Public Utilities Director, said, recommended that that be an exit only.
Okay.
But this project isn't going to be built for about another year and a half, so they are willing to make changes that are necessary, like maybe even, whatever necessary changes are.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the council?
Question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
How many people are going to be employed in this?
I believe their letter of intent says,
I didn't see it anywhere there on my packet.
7 to 8 full-time and part-time employees,
Okay. And,
maybe more, but to start off with, it would be about 7 to 8.
have they gotten permission from the New Mexico DOT to do an exit off Mills, if that would be the case?
Mills doesn't belong to DOT anymore.
Oh, it's a city, so I forget about that. Okay.
So they would have to, if they decide to change that north entrance
Yeah.
off on 6th Street, to Mills, they would have to go and get it approved through Public Works and probably City Council.
Okay. And that was my other question. So how close is the exit to Mills Avenue where they want it existing?
It doesn't state on the plans, but if you look at the
Is Exhibit 2 that we're looking at?
Exhibit 4 is better, it's a better site. If you look at Exhibit 4, see how, it's kind of close to Mills Avenue.
It doesn't say how far.
It doesn't say how far.
Because that is going to be congested area there. It already is to begin with. But it'd be nice if they would do their exiting onto Mills Avenue.
Well, they're willing to work with.
They're willing to work with us, and if that's your recommendation,
Yes, that would
but
be
I
nice.
will let them know, and then as we go along, if the sale goes through and
Yes.
everything else goes through, our development review team will review all their construction plans. Environment Department will do this,
Sure.
and they will make sure, utilities will review these plans, make sure they meet
Sure.
the water consumption, sewer, everything, they meet everything before it's actually built.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
A new business coming to town. Go ahead.
I wonder if we could, yeah, that is good, a new business. Could we request that they, once they build the building and everything else, and that they could incorporate landscaping around their facility to also be...
That will be part of their final plans, because that's one of the requirements for any new developments. They have to kind of do some kind of, and usually it's that, what is it, that xeriscape type thing? And I know most of these new projects,
With gravel, that's not nice.
no, they'll do the gravel, they'll do the,
Yeah.
like,
Drought
you saw how
tolerant plants.
they did on Lowe's on parts, Love's, how they did parts, some of them,
Yeah.
they have the trees and stuff like that.
Sure.
Just the way I don't know if you know, but there's another business coming up over there on the old in the old Kmart parking lot. We have a Guadalupe Credit Union coming in there. And
Mr. Romero?
I had a question, Maria. I didn't see, did this go through planning and zoning already?
yes, it got approved through planning and zoning. I even had the findings of fact signed, approved and signed.
Because I didn't see any, okay, I guess, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, oh no, I won't bring anything before unless it's approved through planning and zoning.
Anybody else? Any other further discussion?
The discussion I had is, so if we give a recommendation, of course, it's up to them, but we give the recommendation to have that entrance come off of Mills,
That will be included, in if it's approved, that will be included in my letter to them. When I let them know after, once I get the information from Cassandra that it's been approved and when it's effective and all that stuff.
Okay.
It will be included in my letter to
Because the
them.
concern that I have, and I would almost bet that Councilor Baca and the previous councilor in Ward 3, that area right now, because where they have the entrance right now, and it's a lot of, that's probably the most damaged road off of 6th Street. So I don't know, Danny, is there something that maybe we could work with them as to, I don't know if they're going to use it at all. I mean, I'm recommending that we do the mills, but on that road there, now that they're going to be building, can we work with them as to where we could put like a proper drainage or some type of thing? Because if it stays like that road's going to stay damaged no matter what. So, I mean, if we could add, they collaborate with you to where we address.
To go out the proper way, and we would have to look.
Because that's the reason why that road gets so damaged, is there's no proper drainage and the water stays there, it freezes and creates all the potholes.
And that is, because I go shopping at Lowe's and I take my truck, I won't take my car because I've already, it's about this low.
Any other discussion?
On that,
Go ahead.
just for information, on that section you're talking about by Lowe's, Back when I was in council 22 years ago, I used to ask the streets all the time, put concrete on that area, stop paving it, it doesn't last. Put concrete. Went on deaf ears, they never did it. And today it's still bad. I get so many complaints from people about that area.
Any other questions about the business? What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the record proper.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Second by Mr. Baca. Roll call, please.
Councilor Uribe Junior?
Yes.
Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
Councilor Baca?
Yes.
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Romero, second by Councilor Baca. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria.
Mr. Mayor, I now make a motion to exit the public hearing and return back to session.
There's a motion to enter back into public session.
Second.
Second by Mr. Montoya. Roll call, please.
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
Councilor Uribe Junior?
Yes.
Councilor Baca?
Yes.
Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Romero, a second by Councilor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
We now need a motion for approval of the ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to approve rezoning of property located at 1412 6th Street, Las Vegas, New Mexico. That's for ordinance 20-02, amendment to the official planning and zoning of City of Las Vegas.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask the maker of the motion to amend his motion to include the male's entrance?
So
we can do that?
So done.
Second?
Second by Mr. Romero. Roll call, please.
Councilor Baca?
Yes.
Councilor Uribe Junior?
Yes.
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Montoya, second by Councilor Romero. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. Next order of business.
Next item on the agenda is approval, disapproval of resolution 20-09, authorizing the city of Las Vegas to quit paying a portion of 4th Street as per preliminary plat attached as Exhibit A and the legal description noted on the resolution. Again, we have Ms. Perea, our planning.
Do we have to go back into public hearing? No?
No, not for a resolution.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Maria.
You don't have to swear us in?
You're still under.
Okay. And the people, other people that are coming in? Or as you go, as they come in?
Since it's more under, for a resolution.
Okay.
I think you can, okay.
Okay, this resolution is to approve or disapprove the adoption of Resolution 2009 for the vacation of a portion of 4th Street, as shown on attached preliminary boundary survey. And this was submitted to the Las Vegas City Schools back sometime in 2019. We went to 3 meetings with planning and zoning and the Las Vegas City Schools, and they want to vacate for that portion of 4th Street so that they can enclose their campus for the security of the students.
Okay.
There is already a concrete barrier on Friedman on 4th Street, which is going to be removed, and they're going to put gates for egress and ingress for first responders, and they'll be putting gates on the south side, not all the way on Baca, but right
By the band room.
by the band room around there. They're going to put ingress and exit gates for the teachers to park in there and for first responders to go in and out.
Okay. Any questions, any discussions?
So we're saying that the gate will be, it won't affect the residents in that area?
No, it is actually about 110 feet north of where the property, where the school property ends. They moved it about 110 feet north, closer to Friedman, so that the 4 residents in that area have, the mailman and everybody have a place to turn around in that area. And there's like slanted, like into the, where the buses park, there's a little area that they can actually turn around and go out there.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir, Mr. McCoy.
I attended one of the meetings at the Las Vegas City Schools. At that time, there was concerns for a couple residents there about parking and so forth. Has that been ironed out?
That actually, we went to a public hearing February 27th after the last planning and zoning meeting, and at that time, the city manager at that time recommended to the residents that they can come and get parking permits for that area, for their house, so that in that way, and then our parking permits are separate, are different than the ones for the school. But I don't know if you've been there on 4th Street, but on 4th Street, right in front of the residents, there's some signs that parking prohibited, students and other people still park in there, and it gives the statute number, whatever, that they're not supposed to be parking there. But Anne Marie Gallegos, the previous interim city manager, recommended that they come and talk to the city clerks and maybe
Yes.
get parking permits for that area, for those people there.
Okay.
And
Madam-
Ms. Larissa Archuleta, our superintendent, can answer better about what they've done for that area, for that stuff.
Okay. My other question was, you said they're going to throw down that wall on the north end, and they're going to put gates there. And then if we approve this tonight, they're going to put gates on the south end.
They're going to put, it's going to be, the
Yes.
campus is going to be completely enclosed.
Yes. Okay. Now, does the fire department, police department, ambulance, are they going to have a key?
They're going to have
Add-
Knox boxes.
Boxes?
That they, and the first responders will have access to that.
Okay. Because basically, the street will still be belong to the city.
No,
Or, I'm not wrong, the rest of it has already been given to them already?
not yet.
Well, not yet.
What we're looking at doing also is actually do the resolution for them to vacate the street or whatever, and give them a quick claim deed for the property. They'll be maintaining that area. The city will maintain easements for water, gas, sewer, whatever's in the area in case they need to have it. First responders, if you notice on exhibit, let me see. Let me see.
Yeah, but this isn't for the whole entire street, this is for a portion.
Just a portion, yeah, just from Friedman.
But the rest of it has already been done? Or does it still belong to the city?
The rest of it will be, what's outside of that parameter, where
Talking about the north end.
the north end will be, from Friedman to that 400 and some feet, to right before where the music building is, will belong to the school. They will have to maintain that. From where those gates are there to Buck Avenue will be still maintained by the city.
Okay, let me put it this way, from the gates to the wall, who does that belong to?
That will belong, if this is approved, will belong to
All of it,
the
the
city.
whole street?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is the last portion gives you, it gives the resolution, it shows the quitclaim deed that they did, that the city attorney helped me prepare,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
an
I-
agreement by the schools.
I just wasn't sure if we're just doing part of the street and the rest had already been done prior,
No,
or if it's all of it, we're doing
it's
all of it.
all together, it's all done together right now.
All right.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
I just had
Go ahead.
a question, Mayor and councilors, that since it's city property, I thought, well, we're giving it to them, does the anti-donation clause come into the picture? But the city attorney assured me that it doesn't apply.
Actually, that's under Resolution 608, that comes under, from government entity kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, going to that question, the concern, so we're doing the whole street? No.
No, we're not doing the whole
From-
street.
From the band room to the north? Okay. That's a dead end anyway.
Well, they're gonna open it up, they're gonna put gates.
Right.
Yeah.
But right
Yeah,
now,
well-
it's not
Yeah.
used.
But, yeah,
Okay, so I was confused. I thought we were doing the whole thing, but they weren't gonna gate off.
no, we're only vacating that portion of the street from the band room up to Friedman.
What's the pleasure of the board? Of the council? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Make a
sir.
motion for approval of resolution 20-09.
There's a motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ulibarri. Please roll call.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Baca?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, a second by Counselor Ulibarri Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, and I'd just like to recognize the superintendent of the Las Vegas City Schools, Larissa Archuleta.
Hello, nice to meet you all.
Welcome.
For inviting me.
Sure.
And thank you all for both of your decisions, and I will let everybody know.
Gracias. Thank you for
Thank
your
you very
work.
much.
Thank you for your work, Maria.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Maria.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
The next item on the agenda, item 3, approval, disapproval of resolution 20-29, budget adjustment resolution. We have our finance director, Mary Miller.
Mr. Mayor,
I had to color-coded, it was so complicated. Okay, all right. Do you want me to go first with the master plan? Okay, so the resolution 2029 combines a number of projects. The last one that's listed on the resolution is the comprehensive master plan. If you look at the budget request, or the budget adjustment request, it is right in the center, the $33,000. Okay? So in this packet, it's the last four, let me see how many, the last 4 pages, or 5 pages, I guess, 5 pages. Okay? Back in February 20th, 2019, the City Council approved a resolution to allow the city to apply for money to fund a master plan for a comprehensive master plan for the city. Robert Archuleta informed me that it was almost done. It's over 90% complete. He plans to get it complete by July and bring it to the July meeting for review by the council, and then bring it back in August for final approval. And even though the letter says from the Finance Authority, says that this has to be completed by July 25th, they have an extension to October 25th because of COVID, so they will finish on time. All right? The 4th page from the back shows the match from the city. So the match is the 33,704 that is on the bar.
Okay.
Any questions?
No? It's a pleasure of the council.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Make a motion for approval of resolution 20-29.
Thank you. There's a motion by Mr. Romero,
Second, Mr. Mayor.
second by Mr. Montoya. Please roll call.
Councilor Uribe Jr.?
Yes.
Councilor Baca?
Yes.
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Romero, second by Councilor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for staying up late with us.
all right. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Mayor, the next item, we've already done executive session, unless there's a need for executive session again. We'll move on to item 4, which is approval, disapproval to publish ordinance 20-04 to amend the code of the city of Las Vegas, chapter 66, personnel rules, section 52, entitled vacation leave. We have Ms. Donna Coster, our HR director.
Welcome, Donna. Thanks for being here.
So we are requesting to publish the change to the ordinance on vacation leave. And we're doing that to change the ordinance so it matches what the current practices are. And so you have a copy of, excuse me, you have a copy of the ordinance with the changes. And you'll see the highlighted part. I believe yours is highlighted, the changes. So it has been the practice of the city for several years that we pay out 240 hours of vacation leave when someone leaves employment. And however, the ordinance only allowed for 212 hours for regular staff and 312 for directors. And so we just wanted to make sure that the ordinance actually reflects what the city is doing. And we will cap those payments at 240 hours
Good.
when an employee leaves.
So just for the history, there's been employees who have racked up 800 hours or whatever.
Well, and let me tell you, so what that is the practice had been, if you have a regular employee that moves to another position, an interim position or a director's position, that bank that they had as a regular employee was being frozen, then they were able to start a new bank in the new position. So when the person would leave, they would pay them out of all their banks.
So they were double dipping.
And the ordinance does not allow for that.
Okay,
Okay, so that's why I didn't make any changes, because it doesn't allow for it anyway.
good.
And so that will not happen again. We currently have six employees, excuse me, that have two banks. So what my recommendation to Dr. Taylor is that we call in those employees, we combine their banks, and because it has been the practice of the city, we give them some time to use their bank. But if they don't, it will be capped at the 240.
Okay.
Okay? Just to be fair to everybody, since it had been the practice.
Okay, go ahead. So I guess my question would be to Mr. Aaron. So those employees that we do bring in and talk to, would we give them a timeline legally, like some type of legal documentation that says by this certain time you use those hours? Or?
You know, I haven't discussed those specifics with Ms. Castro up to this point, but she's been working on this. I'm assuming that there's a plan. If there's not already one that's put together, there will be one put together before those employees are called.
Yes. Just to make sure, like I say, so it's fair, so it's well documented, so if we are not here when those employees leave, we know that those hours will not be paid out.
Good.
And we wanted to make sure that it's not only fair, but that we didn't have, absent an extended period of time, that we didn't have somebody just saying, okay, then I'm taking off the next month or 2 months to use up my time.
Yeah.
So we'll give them ample time to use it, so we keep the operations running efficiently.
Good. Mr. Rocco?
No, I was just wondering, you said, you used the word fair. Do you think this attorney would open up possibly down the road somebody making a legal issue out of it, filing a lawsuit?
I don't think so. I think they're going to give it sufficient time to use all their accumulated hours that they've garnered to date. And what we're trying to do is take just the few that we have left and allow them to expend that vacation time over an extended period. That way, like the city manager said, we don't have somebody saying, okay, well, if I got to use it all up, I'm just going to take off the month of August and September.
We're taking nothing away from them.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Rocco.
I had one question on letter G, donation of vacation leave time. Donation of vacation leave is prohibited. I would support, Mr. Mayor, employees being able to donate their time earned as annual leave to an employee, co-worker that has cancer or has some illness and is in need of vacation leave. I'm not talking about sick leave, because sick leave is more of something that the city gives you, not something that you really earn, but your vacation, you earn it, and you're entitled to it.
Would it be possible to look at a leave donation
And
policy?
I'm not sure the union is involved in promoting something like that also, I don't know.
I did review one of the union contracts, and actually, when it was ratified last year, there was a statement there where the union and the city agreed to look at a leave donation program. And then Cassandra also provided me with a copy. They had been working on this. And so there is already a draft. It was never brought to council. But there is already the beginning stages of it. So yes, there definitely, I think it's important. You know,
Because as a state employee for 25 years, I donated a bunch of hours every year that I didn't use.
Yeah.
Because I was more of a workaholic. I never liked to go on vacation. So, I think that program is very vital for the city and to help each other out and,
I agree, and if it's well-established and
Yes.
well-run, it will really help employees who run into situations, where they have an illness and they need the leave.
Any other discussion, Mr.
Maybe
Romero?
just a couple questions. So this 240 hours, we're going to stick with that.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking, because we kind of dealt with this when I was with the schools, when I was a school board member in the schools. Is that 240 something typical for a municipality, or are we higher or lower, or?
Of course, all state employees, all state
Is that pretty much-
agencies.
Yes, every agency that
240?
I've looked at, not municipalities specifically, but 240 is usually the norm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other, I just had a comment to Councilor Montoya. Something that we dealt with at the schools is when you develop this lead bank policy, something you look at is also looking at the salaries. Because the problem that we had at the school bank, at the bank, was you had, let's say, somebody in maintenance or janitorial versus, somebody in higher salary. Well, it kind of didn't balance out. So, if you look into this policy, make sure that there's some type of balances.
The last one that I wrote, okay, for the university, we really didn't do that. We thought, well, if a higher paid employee gets it and they donate it, it decreases the liability for the university, because at June 30th, you have to record all annual leave balances as a liability. And so for us, it wasn't really worth the time to compare the salaries, because the higher paid people that were giving it actually helped the bottom line.
Well, this happened towards the end, and I don't know how they addressed it, but I know it's
Okay.
audit-wise or something. I know they have.
Okay,
talked
we'll
about
look at
that.
it.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
approval of ordinance 20-04.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. Is it 20-04?
20-04.
Okay.
To publish it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Olivares, second by Mr. Montoya. Roll call, please.
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
Councilor Baca?
Yes.
Councilor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
Have a motion by Councilor Ulibarri Jr., a second by Councilor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Thanks for staying up late.
Oh, yes.
Next order of business,
Next order is adjournment.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Olivares, in a second. Second, please. Second by Mr. Montoya. Roll call, please.
Councilor Baca?
Yes.
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
Councilor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
Have a motion by Councilor Ulibarri Jr., a second by Councilor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Cassandra, for all your work.